Okay, good morning, guys. Today we're going to be talking about division of polynomials. Okay, we're going to be able to use long division to divide polynomials by other polynomials and use synthetic division to divide polynomials by a binomial of the form x minus k. All right, and the last one is use the remainder theorem. So here we go. Let's get ready to go. Okay, to divide the polynomials, the first step that you want to check is you want to check that the polynomial is in order. That means the degree of the polynomial in this case is of the fourth degree. It has all the terms necessary. So for example, this is x to the fourth power, then you have x to the third power. The next one would be x to the second power, but notice it's not here. When you don't see that here, then you have to add that by putting a 0. See, you have no x's to the second power, so no, the term the second power is non-existent, so you put 0x to the second power. Then you have 5x, then minus 1x to the 0 power, because x or any number raised to the 0 power is 1, and 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. That's what you do not write it. But when you are writing it and you want to write it in the long form, this is what you do. Okay, so here we go. First, you have 2x to the fourth power. Then you have 3x to the third power. Then you have no x's to the second power, so you have to put that there. Plus 5x's, or x to the first power, minus 1x to the 0 power. So you don't write that, right? Okay, so that's going to be divided by x squared plus 3x plus 2. So x to the second, to the first, to the 0. So we are good there. Notice that you have 2x to the fourth power divided. This is the numbers that you care about, is this first number. You want to divide it by this number. And see how many times does x squared fits inside 2x to the fourth power. To help you, here is what this means, written in another way. 2x to the fourth power divided by x to the second power. That means that you have 2 times x times x times x times x. This is your x to the fourth power. And divided by x squared, which is x times x. Now, any number over itself is 1. So basically, you could cancel these, and you would have 2x times x. Over 1, which is basically 2x squared. So that means that 2x to the fourth power divided by x squared is 2x squared. So that's the number that goes here. Okay? The next step is you have to multiply. So multiply 2 times 2x squared times x squared is 2x to the fourth power. Then multiply times the next term, 2x squared times 3x, that's 6x cubed. Then you have 2x squared times 2, that would be 4x squared. The next is subtract. So 2x to the fourth power minus 2x to the fourth power, that's 0. 3x cubed minus 6x cubed. Remember, this minus changes that, so 3 minus 6. Think about that. And that would be your x cubed. And 3 minus 6 is what? Negative 3. 0 minus 4. So this changed to negative. So 0 minus 4 is negative 4. That's your x squared. The next step is lower these, just like you do on division, regular division, right? So plus 5x minus 1. And start the process all over. Divide this number right here by that one. How many times does x squared fits into negative 3x cubed? Well, you need that negative 3 because the x squared doesn't have any number, but 1 is 1. So 1 times, how many times does 1 fits in negative 3? That would be negative 3. How many times does x squared fits in x cubed? Well, that would be one more time, right? 3x. X times x squared is x cubed. So negative 3x times x squared is negative 3x cubed. Then multiply times the second term. Negative times negative, negative times positive is a negative. 3 times 3 is 9, and that would be x squared. X times x. Then multiply that times the third term. So negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6x. And again, you need to subtract. So that negative changes this to positive. These are opposite, so this cancels out to 0. This becomes positive because of the negative. So 9 minus 4, that is 5x squared. Negative and negative becomes positive, so 5 plus 6, that's 11. And then lower your next term. Then repeat the process again. See how many times does x squared fits into 5x squared. In this case, the answer would be 5. The 5 times x squared is 5x squared. 5 times 3x is 15x. Then 5 times 2, that's 10. And you subtract. 5x squared minus 5x squared, that's 0. 11 minus 15, this becomes negative, so that number is going to be negative 4x. This becomes negative, so negative 10 and negative 1 is negative 11. All right, so my answer is this right here. This is my answer. Now remember that you have to put this back into the answer. So here's when you write your answer. Make sure that you write your 2x squared minus 3x plus 5 plus negative 4x minus 11 over your divisor, which is x squared plus 3x plus 2. And that whole thing right here, that's your answer. So the division of 2x to the 4th powers plus 3x cubed plus 0x squared plus 5x minus 1 divided by x squared plus 3x plus 2 is 2x squared minus 3x plus 5 plus negative 4x minus 11 divided by x squared plus 3x plus 2. That's the answer. All right, let's do the second one. This one had a remainder. This one right here, this right here is called the remainder. Okay, that's this right here is your remainder. All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, take a look at example B right here. Is x cubed plus 7x squared plus 10x minus 6. Notice 3, 2, 1, 0. So it is in order. Every term is there. Square. So 2, 1, 0. Every term is there. So we could start dividing. X cubed divided by x squared. Those are the two numbers that you care about. How many times does x squared fits into x cubed? Well, that would be x. Since x times x squared is x cubed. X times 4x is 4x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. You subtract x cubed minus x cubed, that's 0. 7x squared plus a minus, remember minus, positive 4x squared. So 7 minus 4, that's 3x squared. And then 10x minus negative 2x, so that's plus 2x. That's plus 12x. And then lower that one right there, minus 6. Now you care about, like I told you, this first one. So 3x squared divided by x squared, that's 3. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times 4x is 12x. And 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. If you subtract this, notice it's exact same number, so the answer is 0. So there is no remainder. So the answer for this one with 0 remainder is x plus 3. There's no remainder. Okay? Okay, here, you try these on your own and then pause the video, see how you did. I'm gonna work on them and you could check your work. So, what do you have? You have x cubed minus x squared minus 2x plus 8 divided by x minus 1. So that's x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times negative 1 is negative x squared. Subtract. Notice that cancels, this cancels. So lower the negative 2x plus 8. Negative 2x divided by x is negative 2. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. So subtract 8 minus 2 is 6. And negative 2x minus negative 2x is 0. So here is my remainder. So the answer is x squared minus 2. Plus 6 divided by x minus 1. Okay, so that's the answer. On the second one, notice 4, 3, you're missing the 3, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1, 0. So this one is good. This one is missing the cubic term. So let's write it. So we have x to the 4th power plus 0x to the 3rd power plus 2x squared minus x plus 5. And you are going to divide it by x squared minus x plus 1. X to the 4th power divided by x squared, that's x squared. That's x to the 4th power. When you multiply it, x squared times negative x is negative x cubed. X squared times 1 is just x squared. Okay, notice the first step, or the next step, I'm sorry, is subtract, right? So we're going to subtract x to the 4th power minus x to the 4th power, that's 0. 0 minus negative, so that's plus, that would be x cubed. Then 2x squared minus x squared, that would be x squared. Then next step is lower the next terms, minus x plus 5. And repeat the process. X cubed divided by x squared, that's just x. X times x squared is x cubed. X times negative x is negative x squared. X times 1 is 1x. Subtract. X cubed minus x cubed is 0. X squared minus negative x squared, that's plus x squared. So 1 plus 1, that's 2x squared. Negative x minus x is negative 2x. Lower your 5. Divide. 2x squared divided by x squared is just 2. 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times negative x is negative 2x. And 2 times 1 is just 2. Alright, so 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. Negative 2x minus negative 2x is 0. 5 minus 2 is 3. So here's your remainder. So your answer would be x squared plus x plus 2 plus 3 divided by x squared minus x plus 1. Okay, that would be your answer right there. Okay, the next thing we have is synthetic division. This is even easier. There is a shortcut for dividing polynomials by binomials. Binomials is a polynomial with 2 terms of the form x minus k. This shortcut is called synthetic division. This method is shown in the next example. And I'm going to show you how they did this, right? Divide negative x cubed plus 4x squared plus 9 divided by x minus 3. Now, it says write the coefficients of the dividend in order of descending exponents. So notice you have 3, 2. You're missing the linear for x. You see how there's no x to the first power, so you need to put 0x to the first power just like before, and then the x to the 0 power. So you are only going to be using the coefficients. So that's negative 1 for the first term, 4 for the second term. The third term, which is the x, is not there. Well, you have to put 0. You have to fill that in. And then the x to the 0 power, you put the coefficient, which is 9. Now, you have to divide that by x minus 3. This k value will be the opposite. So if you're x minus 3, the k value would be the opposite of negative 3, which is 3 right there. If it was x plus 3, then this would be negative 3. Well, this is the easy part. What you do is once you write it down, you bring this number down. Then multiply. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Combine these two numbers, 4 and negative 3, that is 1. Multiply again. 3 times 1 is 3. 0 and 3, that is 3. 3 times 3, that is 9. 9 and 9, that is 18. This last number, that is your remainder. Now, to give your answers, notice that you started with a cubic term. So you always have to start with one less. So you have to move one less. So that would be your square term. So this negative 1 is the coefficient of the quadratic term. So when you're writing your answer, you're going to say, well, this becomes negative 1x squared plus 1x plus 3, and this is your remainder, plus 18 divided by x minus 3. And that's your answer. Right there, that's your answer. Okay, here's another example. We want to divide 3x to the 4th power plus x cubed minus 2x squared plus 2x minus 5 by x plus 1. So there's the binomial. As long as it's a binomial, you could use synthetic division. Again, we want to start by writing the coefficients. That would be 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So everything is there. So I'm going to start 3, 1, negative 2, 2, negative 5. Then x plus 1, that means that the k is negative 1, the opposite of that. So I'm going to write that there. Bring this down. So multiply. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Combine those two, 1 and negative 3, that's negative 2. Negative times negative is a positive, so this will be 2. Negative 2 and 2, that's 0. Negative 1 times 0, that's 0. 2 and 0 is 2. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Negative 5 and negative 2 is negative 7. That's your remainder. We use the remainder in the answer. Now remember, this is 3x to the 4th power. So the degree is 4. You're going to start with the one lesser of the degree. So you're going to start with cubic term. So this 3 is the coefficient for the cubic term. So that would be 3x cubed minus 2x squared. Notice the next one is x, but it's 0, so you don't put that. Plus 2. Minus 7 over x plus 1, or plus negative 7 over x plus 1. And that is how you do synthetic division. So very simple, very straightforward. That's your answer right there. Okay? So these two are for you. Try them. Stop the video, check them out, and see how you did. Here's how I'm going to do it. 3, 2, 1, 0. So everything is there. I write my coefficients, which is 1, negative 3, negative 7, and 6. Negative 2, so k is 2. Lower that one. 2 times 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 9. Times negative 9 is negative 18. Negative 18 and 6 is negative 12. There is your remainder. Remember to always start with one less, so that would be x squared minus x minus 9 plus negative 12 divided by x minus 2. Your answer. Notice 3, 2, I'm missing the quadratic term, the linear term is there, and then the 0 power. So I have 2, 0, negative 1, negative 7. Then the opposite of that is negative 3. Bring this down. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 and 0, negative 6. Negative 3 times negative 6 is positive 18. 18 minus 1 is 17. Negative 3 times 17 is negative 51. Negative 51 and negative 7, that's negative 58. That's your remainder. So notice cube, so I start with the quadratic. 2x squared minus 6x plus 17 plus negative 58 over x plus 3. And that is that, guys. So that lesson was pretty simple. Now make sure you go and do your exercises, okay? Have an awesome day.